Hi, I'm Kelly Morgan. I'm a health coach for busy overachievers. In my last video, I talked about getting your 2020 vision set when it comes to your past, present, future, and inner self, so that you can calibrate your inner GPS to map your way to a healthy lifestyle. Hopefully you saw that it doesn't have to be so hard. Today, we're going to build on that and talk about goal setting. Now, I'm sure you've noticed in other parts of your life that goals are really important. They may have taken the form of work goals, or maybe even a long-term to-do list, or maybe a bucket list. Goals drive us forward, and they help us take stock of what's important to us. But don't confuse goals and wishes. Wishes? Those are those daydreams, and you're thinking about maybe considering fixing to look into doing something. That's not what we're talking about here. Those are fun. Those are necessary. But goals are how we turn those wishes into reality. I feel like it's important. If you have something you're interested in, you want to accomplish it, great. Think through it. Make a plan. And then do the dang thing. Get in there, start to make some mistakes, start to check things out, make some adjustments. Start working toward it. Wishing and hoping and dreaming and thinking and all that, that's great. But if you actually feel strongly enough about accomplishing a goal, you need to get in there and start planning it out and start doing it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do you do that? Let's think back to the last video. And that's where you imagine the last time you felt really healthy and amazing. You determined exactly what was so great about life, why you felt so good, why your health was so on point, and what were the circumstances around it. Then you focused on your present day self. You took stock of how happy and healthy and energetic and just all around well you feel. We looked at about the last month to get a snapshot of what you look and feel like and all of that for present day. You then thought about what had changed, what was different between that past version of yourself where you felt so wonderful and present day. And if you could, what lessons, what circumstances, what would you take along with you from that past self and have today? We then moved to take a look at a future version of you. Whatever you wanted to imagine, 1 year in future, 10, that was your choice. Your definition of future here doesn't matter. We can work with whatever version that is, whatever time period. What we then saw was you felt, looked, lived a certain way. You became a certain type of person. And we looked then at the gap between present day you and that future version of you that you imagined where you feel your absolute best. You are just your most super powerful you. Healthy, energetic, taking on the world, just fueling your body like you should. All of that good stuff. Now the gap between that present and future you, that's where we're going to hang out in this video. To make that future vision of yourself come true, you need to identify the gaps between present day you and future you to figure out what needs to change. Put aside how you'll do it for a moment. We're looking at just what needs to change. How do you become that person? So maybe you want to lose some weight. Maybe you want to be the type of person who meal preps. You want to learn how to cook some healthy food. You want to have run a certain race that you've been thinking about. Or maybe you want to be stronger. Maybe you want to be the kind of person who's a regular at yoga class. The what is all we care about right now. What is it? Not how, but what's different? What made that future you, you? So we're going to look at an example of how to kind of map out a goal that matches that what. We're going to identify a couple of different elements of who that future you is and what is different. So I'm going to use an example that is so simple and easy. This is the easiest example I could think of for us to go through. I'm going to pretend that I want to lose weight. And that's the first crack at the goal. So if I envision future me, let's say that what I imagine is I'm a healthier weight, whatever that may be. I really should have thought that through before this. But future me has lost weight. So that's the what. Now I need to build on that what, because it's a great start. Weight loss. There you go. Goal. Boom. Now build it out. So our good start is the what, the weight loss. Now we build on that to make it fit what's called the SMART framework. SMART is this really well-researched, incredibly effective framework that we use for all kinds of goals when we set them. SMART's an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, and time-bound. Now, tons of research has shown that when you make goals that fit those different elements, that they're all specific, measurable, actionable, reasonable, and time-bound, that your goal has everything it needs for you to have a really good likelihood of reaching it. So let's go through our example. Specific comes first. I want to lose weight. Okay, how much specifically? Let's say, again, make it super easy, 10 pounds. All right, there's our specific. Now, being specific is important here because, well, let's say you have a genie that shows up. And the genie says that he will grant whatever wish you want. But if you've ever seen any movie, fairy tale, or any story with a genie or wishes being granted, you know you need to be specific about what you want. Or else you're going to get something that either doesn't fit or is the total opposite. It's the same with goals. Be really specific about what you want to do. Because if you can't get that clear in your mind, your chances of reaching that goal are a lot lower. So we're specific. I'm losing 10 pounds. Now we move on to measure. How will we measure weight loss? Well, there are lots of ways you can measure weight loss. And that's going to be true of all sorts of goals that you want to set. There are lots of ways to track and measure. So for weight loss, some of those ways would be I could weigh myself weekly. I could measure certain body parts like my waist and hips. I could track food and exercise. All of those are great options. I like to use multiple ways of measuring. That's just me. I'm a data nerd. So find what works for you. But one pro of using multiple different ways of measuring progress is that you can see places where change is happening and you can kind of understand things better. So an example of that is if I'm trying to lose weight, I get on the scale is just not moving. It keeps staying at that number. But if I'm also measuring my waist circumference or my hips and I start to see I'm losing inches, that tells me that there still is progress, even if it's not showing up on the scale. Another example of why this is really helpful is if I'm tracking my food and my exercise. Let's say that I'm not losing weight, like I'm just not making any progress. I can take a look into the why and start to see, well, maybe my diet's kind of a mess, or maybe my workouts aren't effective enough for fat burning. So you get lots of information. Remember, it's your choice on how much information you want to gather. We're not all geeks like me. So find what works for you and what's appropriate for your goal. All right, next is actionable. Is this an actionable goal? Yeah, it's something I could feasibly do. It's actionable so far. I want to lose 10 pounds. Here's how I'm going to measure it. Now, an example of a goal that's not going to pass that actionable test would if I said I wanted to lose 100 pounds. That's impossible since I don't weigh enough to lose that much weight. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm probably dead before goal weight. So that would not be actionable. The next one, R, for reasonable, that goes hand in hand with the goal being actionable. So think about actionable being, is this goal something I could do? Reasonable would be, is this something I should do? And I think losing 10 pounds, that works for both actionable, I could do it, and reasonable. Probably if I'm setting that goal, I should do it. All right, now we are to the magic part of the SMART framework. This is making the goal time-bound. This is where a lot of people get tripped up because it's fun to imagine stuff, but once you add a deadline to it, even though we have lots of proof in other parts of our lives that deadlines work, they add a little bit of stress and it makes it kind of hard. So do not skimp on this. Don't make your goal a SMART goal. It's a SMART goal for a reason. So I can want to lose 10 pounds with everything in me, every fiber of my being. But if I don't add a time frame for when that's going to happen, I'm really unlikely to do that. Deadlines are motivational. They also keep us accountable. So thinking about your time frame. If the time frame's too short, like saying I want to lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks, well, you can probably guess unless I get a really epic stomach flu, I'm going to fail at that. On the other hand, if I set a timeline for 10 pounds in 2 years, I'm also probably going to fail. Okay, why is that? Why would I fail? You'd lose momentum. I'm not going to care about 10 pounds over the next 2 years. Do you know how many things are going to happen in 2 years? So give yourself enough time for your goal so that you can actually make that change happen, so you can actually have the time to do it, but not so long that you draw it out and you lose momentum. Let's look at my example. To lose 10 pounds, let's consider that healthy weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds a week. The time frame then would be 5 to 10 weeks to lose 10 pounds. I can leave that a range, that's fine, or I can narrow it down. And my inclination when I set a goal is to be conservative. So let's say I'm going to give myself 10 weeks to lose 10 pounds. The final SMART goal would then be, I want to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks by tracking my food and exercise daily. Easy as that. Once you have your SMART goal, you can then break it into milestones and also some mini goals. An example would be to set a goal of 2 pounds weight loss in 2 weeks. You could also start to set some goals for behaviors that contribute to that goal. So I could set a goal to eat 8 servings of vegetables daily, drink 70 ounces of water every day, walk 10,000 steps every day over this 10-week period. You see how you can start to build out your plan by setting some mini goals for how you're going to get there. That's just like a little toe dip into the how. We'll get to more of that later. The idea is to create a plan for reaching your goal. In tomorrow's video, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of creating that bulletproof plan. So we'll start to layer in those hows along with your whats. So I'll see you then.